Hey, what's good, YouTube? Today we're gonna react to Kendrick One, but at what cost by Hip Hop Madness. But let's get into a reaction. Man, Kendrick smoked this man, Drake, man. No cap, he smoked him.
As the dust begins to settle on the hip-hop civil war, it seems like the real damage is coming into focus. While no blood was spilled, it's safe to say that things haven't been this ugly in rap beef since the days of Biggie and Pac, with Kendrick Lamar basically dissecting every aspect of Drake's identity and not only holding up a mirror to Drake to look at himself, but show the world what he believes to be the real man behind all the fame and fortune. In Euphoria, Meet the Grams, and Not Like Us, hip-hop was given 3 of the most blockbuster violations of an artist that the culture has ever seen. And while Drake did put up an admirable fight, he just didn't have the ammo to counteract what Kendrick was putting out there. As a result, only diehard stans of Drake would realistically argue that he'd escaped unscathed from this, or that he even competed on the same level.
Nah, he definitely got shot.
I think that Kendrick is rapping
better.
You
think Kendrick is rapping better? You think he's putting out better songs? That record is not that good. I don't know what the... That record would have been amazing if Drake really does have a Love Your Daughter. He did rap about it. Now y'all saying you mad he rapped about it.
But it's like, gang, we don't know if he do or don't, though. So it's like, it's still up in the air. Like, he could not have a secret trial and Kendrick could be fucking lying. But then again, he could have a secret trial and Kendrick could be telling the truth. So it's like, we just don't know, to be honest. Until someone come out and actually say, hey, this Drake kid, and DNA test and everything. But
hit with over 1 million dislikes on his diss track / concession speech on The Hard Part 6, the aftermath of Kendrick's assault on his image has basically left Drake stranded on an island where he faces a shift in public opinion on one side and the wrath of his peers on the other. And while this potentially has major ramifications for Drake going forward, it also might be the beginning of a major cultural shift. Let's break it down. For starters, Kendrick's dismantling of Drake's public image has people assessing whether or not he was really ever truly a part of the culture, or simply someone who just exploited it for financial gain. An artist whose music always focuses more on the personal rather than political, and often retelling meaningless stories rather than something of substance, Dot's continued use of the existing narrative that Drake is a culture vulture has people talking about Drake in a whole new light. A man whose main gripe with Drake has always been his refusal to show up for black issues, Ebro explained that Kendrick's exploration of Drake's mixed background wasn't just race baiting, as some people have tried to paint it. Instead, it was used to explore the ways he stands for nothing in a culture that was born of the need to communicate important ideals to the masses.
The reason Kendrick doesn't like Drake is beyond just, I don't like you as a person, which he said that too. He doesn't like what Drake represents in hip-hop. He doesn't like that this individual is not authentic, doesn't represent anything of value to black heritage and black culture, isn't in touch with his blackness enough. I think that is also an important detail because hip-hop, as we know it today, is an extension of the black nationalist movement. It is a tool to share information and educate ourselves when the establishment doesn't do so, and also to make sure that we are represented towards each other and for each other. That's a part of what the hip-hop thing is and the basis of it.
But it goes deeper than that, as in the wake of Kendrick's comments, critics are beginning to wonder if Drake only uses his black identity when it stacks the odds in his favor.
You being a mixed person, explain to people from your perspective the difference between how Drake does it in this hip-hop space as opposed to somebody like J. Cole.
You know, J. Cole spends his time doing commentary about society and about his community and the places he comes from, which is
the issues within our
the
culture.
black heritage part of hip-hop. J. Cole is in touch with that and understands the importance of that. One of the issues that I think even the OVO team has had was the Childish Gambino thing when I was up here talking about, yo, bro, don't on This Is America because you don't ever have anything to say, which is once again the indictment of Kendrick. Kendrick is not saying Drake is not black. Kendrick is saying you only act black when it's time for you to use blackness to make money. When it comes to any other black issues or black anything, we don't see you.
By using another biracial rapper like J. Cole as an example, in my opinion, it perfectly depicts how Cole takes on the cultural responsibility that Drake has avoided for most of his career. All the while, Drizzy has reaped the rewards of it at every opportunity. Now, it's unfair to say that Drake has never shown up for the black community. After all, at the height of the BLM movement, he donated $100,000 to National Bailout. But there's also a case to be made that this is the bare minimum he could have done when you consider the profit he's made from the culture. Ultimately, the issue with Drake comes down to code switching, and unfortunately, there are plenty of clips from his past as a child actor where he seems to purposefully distance himself from the black culture to integrate into white environments. Just look at this clip where he mocked the Toronto accent, which takes influence from Jamaican, East African, and Middle Eastern diaspora.
The guys at our school, instead of addressing people like the brute, like saying like, what are you guys doing? Say man's like you. It's really ignorant.
Then, years on, he repped that same accent, all the while appearing ignorant of its origins.
Our accents. I don't know who started talking like that.
Yeah.
I'd love to meet that guy. I literally want to meet the first Toronto man of all time. I don't know who he is.
Fast forward to when Drake decided he wanted to be a rapper, and suddenly his disdain for the Toronto accent was gone. Instead, he was claiming it as a part of his culture. But to make matters worse, Drake is simultaneously facing darker accusations. Years before Kendrick started throwing out allegations about Drake in the OVO camp, certain figures had always side-eyed Drake's alleged admiration for younger women.
Yeah.
In fact, famous comedian Shane Gillis even predicted
This right here is a big fucking like accusation to make about somebody, bro. Like this some crazy shit.
Drake's alleged admiration for younger women. In fact, famous comedian Shane Gillis even predicted his downfall. On an episode of Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast in the summer of 2019, he basically foretold what's now happening to Drake, right down to the timeline.
I want to be on the record. Drake's going to be, he's on that R. Kelly tip. Drizzy Drake, like,
wow,
somewhat known already. This is one of those things where you got to say something. Like, remember Louis, that whole thing? We knew about that. And we were just like, I don't know. Drizzy Drake's into the young ones. He's going to get got in the next 5 years.
Notice he mentions Louis C.K. here. If you're not up on that story, the famous stand-up was in front of women in the comedy scene, and everybody knew. Known to affiliate with the younger generation, Drake has some strange ties to teenagers in the past.
We just texted each other the other day, and he was like, I miss you so much. I was like, I miss you more.
I mean, I've only, texted him, but he's so nice,
Then you have the whole scenario with Bella Harris.
She was born in 2000, bro. Why the is this flicked up with her in 2016, laying up on her, bro? Then as soon as she turned 18, they took her out on a date, bro.
Now, back then, people like Millie Bobby Brown came to his
Hey,
defense. But
he
they're
might be
notably
grooming.
staying very silent these days now that they're not only older, but things that are less defensible as simply friendliness have come to light. As for his interest in Bella Harris, her claim was that he was a fan of women's high school basketball. Like, that's a perfectly normal sentence to say as a 30-year-old man. Now, we are in no way making claims here or trying to imply anything, but between SZA having to clarify that she wasn't underage and Georgia Smith being just 19 when she hooked up with the 31-year-old Drake, the whole thing wasn't a great look to begin with. But now, post Kendrick's exposed attempts, Drake's Teenage Fever comment section on YouTube is now flooded with the worst claims a musician could imagine.
You say the word, why second guess? I should have stayed. Why did he second guess on Teenage Fever? Answer me. You say the word, I'm on the way. What word? It's a go? Y'all gonna look back one day and say, oh, it was right there.
An artist who is always focused on the pop charts and therefore the youth, Drake has always fought to retain that fan base in his career by moving with that sound. Now, if you want to be a commercial superstar, that's just good business sense. But from a darker perspective, now revealed by Kendrick's diss tracks, it implies that Drake isn't just cornering that market to stay hot, but to retain access to the younger audience. For one thing, it explained why he now has a 26-year-old in Lil Yachty writing the bulk of Her Loss, why he flew out a fresh-faced Ice Spice when Munch popped off, or why it was rumored that he just recently signed 4 Bats to a one-album deal. For a clearer example, before the days of Not Like Us, it was easy for academics to throw Drake some bail for focusing on a younger demographic.
I never even thought about Drake is singing about a 27-year-old.
But that's where we make the most money at, though. So
if anybody's talking about a 40-year-old, with all due respect, I'll be like, what the? I think hip hop is always kind of meant to kind of appeal to that age.
Yeah.
Unless you're gonna do some Jay-Z, you're married and you're doing 444. If you're gonna be rapping about partying, going out, casually dating, you're gonna be rapping about that age range, whether you name drop it or not.
But what's telling is that even with Act being
That's
such
true.
a verifiable Drake stan, he has since acknowledged that Drake now has to move completely different.
He's probably gonna have to keep his affairs with women either much more secretive or not be pictured with the chick who just graduated from college.
Yeah,
because
that's true.
They're now planting and put this jacket on him.
They put the
usually do,
seed.
If you're a groomer.
In his opinion, songs like Teenage Fever will have to be a thing of the past, as too many people could interpret certain bars as lusting after young ladies. In fact, there's every chance that it might change his whole writing process.
So now with Drake, when he was writing a rhyme and he's not thinking, yo, nobody's gonna think I'm writing about kids because this line is meant to be something else. He's talking about it like it was a dream of his since he was a kid. This now got people looking at lyrics trying to get different meanings now. So now when Drake's writing the next slap, he probably got a line that is fire on paper, but it's like, yo, these motherfuckers gonna take it this way now.
Offering no defense rather than, I'm too famous to be an abuser, this presents a dangerous crossroads for Drake's career. Drake fans have endured a lot over the years, but for some...
Yeah, that was a bad take, bad response by Drake, saying I'm too famous to be an abuser, and it's like, gang, bro. Like, the richest people be the most sick people, bro, on some shit. Well, actually, I'm not gonna say that, but it's like, But it's like, yo, like Epstein, a rich motherfucker, was a sick nigga. R. Kelly, a rich motherfucker, was a sick nigga. Like, bro, once you got money and power, gang, like, bro, some niggas start going on power trip and start doing some crazy, absurd shit. Especially with niggas with clout and shit, bro. Like, they just start, bro, they start power tripping and shit. So that was a bad like
no
response to it, because like
to be an abuser,
that don't mean shit.
A dangerous crossroads for Drake's career. Drake fans have endured a lot over the years, but for some, these allegations are just a step too far.
You know what they need to be focusing on are denouncing all these allegations. Prove that you didn't do the. If you
Facts.
Pack it up. I'll be deleting everything from OVO. I'm done. You
Damn.
that type of, bro, I cannot support you in any type of way, shape, or form.
Now relieved of its ability to make club smashes about casual sex without a few jokes being made at his expense, Kendrick's verbal demolition of Drake means that this isn't the only part of his creative process that'll have to change. As now, he's basically incapable of heading to Atlanta without the colonizer narrative.
Can Drake put out a record with an artist from Atlanta and people ain't gonna look at it funny?
I think whatever move he makes, people will look at it funny.
He wouldn't as often make street records just for the streets. Right. He does that because the streets in this hip hop means something. They mean something to your credibility. I believe that Drake has to think more carefully about making those moves now because it's been exposed.
I'm talking about large,
like for diehard rap fans, maybe this might affect them, but for the general like casual rap fan, like I don't think they give a fuck, to be honest, bro. As long as Drake, like if Drake come out with another fucking banger, like club banger, like bro, they not gonna give a fuck about the beef and what happened, bro. But for like when it comes to like diehard rap fans who like make like, you know, rap lists and shit like this, yeah, this could whole affect his like ranking when it comes to terms of like, you know, best rapper of all time and all this other shit, right? Like for like diehard rap fans that actually like, you know, in tune with the culture and shit, but it's like casual people that don't know really shit and just listen to like club bangers and shit, like bro, this shit don't hurt Drake at all. Now, if he get accused for fucking like, you know, having women in the embassy and shit, having women in the embassy and shit, and like the embassy gets raided, then he might be fucked.
Carefully about making those moves now.
But the casual fan, like, bro, they just
talking
gonna
about large-scale issues that this new power balance in hip-hop represents. This banishment from Atlanta is one that will definitely hurt Drake. But the idea that anyone would want to get on a track with him at the minute is hypothetical. Because for now, it feels like a lot of people are distancing themselves from Drake. When Drake dropped Family Matters, the comments were flooded with streamers standing shoulder to shoulder with him as opposed to rappers. Meanwhile, someone like Lil Yachty, who was mentioned directly on Euphoria, stayed out of it. Even when he liked a tweet which brought up K-Dot's apparent shady history.
Well, why wouldn't he stay out of it? Like, bro, like, he don't got beef with Kendrick.
Directly on Euphoria, stayed out of it. Even when he liked a tweet which brought up K-Dot's apparent shady history, he cowardly said it was an accident when news outlets picked it up. Similarly, 21 Savage only gave his views on the Metro and Drake aspect of the beef, instead of showing support for him with anything going on with K-Dot. Going back to his crew of yesteryear, Weezy and Nicki Minaj have strangely also remained silent. In Nicki's case, this is a stark difference from how she responded to the story of Adidon, where she actively supported him on Twitter. So why are they bailing on him? Well, the answer is that while there's many things rappers will defend you for, what he's being accused of now isn't one of them. As a result, they don't want their image tarnished by associating with him right now. Because from hip-hop heads to high schools, the perception of Drake has shifted.
I, up until today, taught at a very Drake-centric high school. Rich Baby Daddy is the most frequently requested song to put on my class playlist. But today, I walk in and I can feel that there has been a tectonic shift. I had like one Drake defender in each class, if that. And honestly, I feel bad for those kids because they were getting screamed at.
Although only time will tell if these effects upon Drake's image are long-lasting or temporary, one thing that seems evident is that he is likely done with beefing when it's always left him battle-scarred and with a hole in his public image.
I think this proves to me that Drake is completely done with he's completely done with rap battles. He can't do that anymore. It's not because of ability, but because of where he is. Kendrick Lamar's numbers, like, he's about to go #1 next week with the new song he just dropped to Drake. You're going to give this guy his #1 solo record of his whole career because you...
Bro, honestly, I think because of ability, gang. Because, like, I don't know what it is with Drake. Like, he was able to beat Meek Mill, that's cool. But after that, he just been taking fucking L's. Like, when it comes to turning rap battles. And it's like the way how he go about it just be bad. Like Like this whole Kendrick shit, bro, was bad. Like the push up one was a good diss, right? And Family Matters was a good diss too. But he wasn't. It was a good diss, but wasn't good enough to beat Kendrick's though, because he was like sending shots. Like he was trying to fight 20 people at once when Kendrick legit just shooting shots at you, bro. Like every shot that Kendrick had on his diss track went directly at Drake. But when Drake dropped something, his shit would either go to fucking Kendrick, go to fucking Rick Ross, go to fucking Weekend, go to fucking Future, Metro Boomin, and all the other niggas. And it's like, bro, you cannot be diverting your attention. Like, bro, you cannot be diverting your attention from fucking Kendrick, who is your biggest opposition at this point, bro. Like, he's not paying him no mind. Like, he's fucking beating up Rick Ross in the corner, and Kendrick is just sitting there, just fucking shooting shots at him. And it's like, bro, gang, focus on Kendrick, bro. Focus on Kendrick. Dude, like, stop talking about Rick Ross. Stop talking about Weekend. Like, bro, they not even saying shit for real. Like, they just on Twitter or on fucking Instagram, like, saying random shit. But Kendrick is sending diss tracks at you, like, headshots. And, gang, you're not fighting back, bro. Like, bro, you giving him 1 line or 2 lines or 3 lines, bro. And then after that, you go into the next nigga. Like, bro, what? Like, nah, gang, you need to focus on Kendrick, bro. You need to focus on Kendrick, which he did not do, which was bad. And then his last track saying that he basically just fed Kendrick fake information and shit, which is like, bro, that's your response, gang? Like, bro, gang, we need proof that this man got fake information from you, bro. Like, bro, gang, do you have receipts that you was feeding this nigga fake information? Like, bro, we don't know. It just fucking, he say, she say. But it's like, gang, Drake just need to stop rap battling niggas, right? He just need to stop rap battling niggas.
Engage with them.
For one thing, we need to fact check Ack here, because Humble is actually Kendrick's first solo #1. It just didn't debut there. But that doesn't change the fact that Not Like Us has now broken Drake's own record for biggest debut with God's Plan. Now, that's got a sting for Drake, who has always been about the numbers. But so too will the fact that K-Dot is now in a more fortuitous position.
What's funny is that Kendrick legit just made a fucking club record. Like, he legit trolled Drake with this song, bro. And cooked him with this song. Like, he trolled him with this song. Like, bro, like, this track is like a club record, like, bop, funny, like, trolling song, bro. And it's like, it cooked this nigga Drake. It cooked him. And because Drake before was talking about how you always rapping about how you trying to free the slaves and shit. Bro, the last track he put out was basically a club fucking banger, basically.
Always been about the numbers. But so too will the fact that K-Dot is now in a more fortuitous position on the other end. Because while Kendrick's numbers are up with his catalog soaring over 49...
Like, bro, I knew Drake was cooked when I heard Not Like Us on a fucking NBA playoff game, bro. Doing a commercial break and shit. I was like, oh yeah, this nigga's cooked. This nigga's cooked.
Drake is actually down 3%. For all that, Drake undeniably took the L here. But it doesn't mean that Kendrick escaped scot-free either. For one thing, his fan base are now aware that he has the ability to drop more frequently and just chooses not to. While this is likely a Pandora's box he didn't want to open, you also have the small matter of the power vacuum that's in place if Drizzy is really forced to bow out after all this. Naturally, people like Ack believe that he'll have to move more like Drake in order to take the top spot, which requires a level of being present in the culture. But when you really think about it, that wasn't the point of the whole beef. Despite claiming the top spot on Like That, which started this all off, Kendrick doesn't want to inhabit the same space as Drizzy. He just wanted to create a void where that could be filled by anyone else. When he said it was just Big Me, he wasn't talking about dominating the charts. He was talking about sheer lyrical ability and creating the best music. A man who claims to live a boring life because he loves...
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I think that shit came true. Nigga said, fuck the big 3. It's just Big Me. Nigga J. Cole, he had that nigga shook. That nigga ducked the smoke and bailed out. And Drake, he bodied. So, hey man. I guess it is just Big Kendrick, I guess.
Kendrick isn't interested in extracting anything else that Drake had, apart from his credibility. But as the debris clears and we begin to look at a future where Drake is minimized and Kendrick's reach has probably only expanded, there are questions to be asked if this was all worth it. Now, if Drake truly is everything Kendrick says he is, then there's no denying that getting rid of him was basically a public service. But there's also collateral damage to what's been said. As Teo Barrow said in her Guardian piece, there is a case to be made that while these two titans of the industry were squaring off, the women who were caught in the middle, whether it was Kendrick's wife or Drake's alleged victims, really lost out from the battle. These men are casually rapping about child and harboring secret children that they've presumably known about for years, but only chose to reveal when they were fighting, and using each other's possible victims as ammunition in a battle that has nothing to do with these women isn't just perverse and morally reprehensible. It reveals the degree to which hip-hop and the music industry as a whole continue to protect terrible men, even while their behavior, or alleged behavior, is an open secret. And although people might feel like it's rich coming from someone with his history, this is also a point made by Charlemagne, who felt that the exposés weren't done for genuine reasons.
I don't like seeing these brothers Me Tooing each other over a rap feud. To me, that's corny. Like, if you're gonna call somebody, if you're gonna call someone a woman, you gotta have some real proof.
It's for this reason that the Roots Questlove actually thinks that there were
That's
no
true,
real
too.
victors here. When asked
Niggas
his
do
views,
need proof.
Vince Staples believed it detracted from the real issues facing hip-hop and black creatives. In fact, he went as far to suggest that it basically set the culture back years.
That record label just folded all of its independent labels and subsidiaries into each other. None of them exist no more. They fired all the heads of the labels, and if they didn't, they turned them into glorified A&Rs. They cut off 50% of the people who work in all these departments. Most of those people is us, people of color that come from hip-hop and R&B and these other things, right? Personally, I think we better than that. I think we deserve better than that because we've been saying for decades that we want people to respect black music and black art and black people. And I think for that to happen, we got to respect ourselves. And they don't make it easy for us, but we got to try to work a little bit harder at that.
From the innocent bystanders and potentially traumatized people who had to live through this again, there are strong cases to be made that maybe Kendrick and Drake's beef did hip-hop more harm than good. Similarly, others claim that this beef saved hip-hop. But what do you think?
And I think the beef in general was like something. The beef in general, I think it was good for hip hop, cause it brought back some like some competitiveness and some like beef in the hip hop, and nothing went to fucking like no one died over it. Well, this man Drake Mansion got shut up, which was bad, but it's like, and people saying that was from Weekend and shit, so who fucking knows? But hey, honestly, the beef in general, I just think it was like just basically a temporary event. Like, bro, it was cool for the moment, but I don't think it moved hip hop like any major direction though. Like, I think hip hop still gonna stay the same. It was just like a good moment in hip hop, but other than that, I think hip hop just stayed the same, to be honest. But hey, Drake got smoked, man. Drake got smoked. Kendrick did his job and fucking cooked this man. Like, bro, like Drake responses wasn't timely and wasn't efficient enough to be Kendrick, okay? But hey, like, comment, subscribe, suggest anything else you want to interact to, down below in the comments. But check out and next one.